was in possession of 214 electoral votes with leads in crucial states of Pennsylvania, North Carolina, and Georgia. Trump announced last night he would approach the courts to dispute the counting of these votes. As it stands, there are 5 states still left uncalled, including major prizes such as Pennsylvania, the key small state of Nevada, meaning both Trump and Biden still have a path to recovery. As of this morning, several key states, including Pennsylvania and Nevada, had yet to be called. The latter state is not set to resume tabulations again until about noon Eastern time, with a larger proportion of votes still outstanding. With the presidential election still undecided and former Vice President Joe Biden inching closer to victory, the Trump campaign has already moved to challenge the voting count in the states of Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Georgia, setting the stage for the election to be decided in the courts. With presidential race too close to call, all eyes on Pennsylvania this morning. Election officials in several key states furiously counted ballots yesterday as the nation awaited the outcome of the race between President Trump and Democrat Joe Biden and braced for possible recounts and these legal challenges. With electoral results in for all but a few battleground states, President Trump's possible path to victory is now extremely narrow. Democrat Joe Biden pushing closer to the 270 electoral college votes needed to carry the White House, securing victories in the blue wall battlegrounds of Wisconsin and Michigan, and narrowing President Trump's path. After this nail-biting finish to a contentious election season that saw both candidates swing through Michigan numerous times, Joe Biden was declared the winner of the presidential race in Michigan by multiple outlets. And with the election still too close to call, former Vice President Joe Biden yesterday declined to declare victory, but said, and I quote, "We believe we will be the winners. My fellow Americans, yesterday once again proved democracy is the heartbeat of this nation." He said that currently has an advantage in the Electoral College, but is still short of the 270 votes there to win the presidency. The Biden campaign remains optimistic that the White House is within its grasp. Former Vice President Joe Biden projected to receive more votes for president than any other candidate in U.S. election history. Young electors in the U.S. have been making their voices heard, and although the votes are being counted, their choice could shape the outcome of the closely fought election and decide the presidency of the world's oldest democracy. This year, black women set a new record. 117 entered primaries for the House and 13 for the U.S. Senate. And across the nation, LGBTQ candidates achieved milestone victories, including the first transgender person elected to a state Senate and the first openly gay black men to win seats in Congress. If incumbent U.S. President Trump fails to win the re-election, he will not be the first incumbent president in history to have fallen from grace, but will be the first in the last 3 decades. In 1992, George H.W. Bush failed to win his second term as Democrat. Bill Clinton won the election, and since Bush, all 3 U.S. presidents, Bill Clinton, George H.W. Bush Jr., and Barack Obama, have won their re-elections. President Trump's campaign filed lawsuits in Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Georgia, laying the groundwork for contesting battleground states as he slipped behind Democrat Joe Biden in the hunt for the 270 electoral college votes needed to win the White House. Dozens of angry supporters of President Trump converged on vote-counting centers in Detroit and Phoenix as the returns went against him yesterday in these 2 key states. So we do have a riot that was declared in Portland, Oregon, and protesters took to the streets in Seattle as people demanded that every vote in the election be counted. Hundreds were protesting in both cities against President Trump's court challenges to stop the vote count in battleground states. Republicans have fended off challenges in a number of key Senate races, making it increasingly unlikely Democrats could win control of the chamber. The election scrambled seats in the House and Senate, but ultimately left Congress much like it began, deeply split as voters resisted big changes despite the heated race at the top of the ticket for the White House. The U.S. has recorded more than 100,000 new COVID-19 cases in a day for the first time yesterday. A total of 104,000 cases were logged yesterday, according to the Washington Post. And 7 states, meanwhile, reported record-high COVID-19 hospitalization numbers. The United Nations and some of its member states have expressed regret over the U.S. departure from the Paris Climate Accord and said they remain committed to working with all American stakeholders and partners around the world to accelerate climate change. Yesterday, the 4th of November, the U.S. formally withdrew from the 2015 Paris Agreement on climate change, a decision originally announced 3 years ago. Ethiopia's conflict in its powerful Tigray region continues today after Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed told the nation the military will carry out further operations this week in response to an alleged deadly attack on a military base by the regional government. And Sudan has said the latest round of talks with Egypt and Ethiopia over Addis Ababa's controversial dam on the Blue Nile ended after they failed to make any headway. Israel has demolished most of the Bedouin village in the occupied West Bank, displacing 73 Palestinians, including 41 children, in the largest such demolition in years. And Austrian leaders called today for more legal options to fight extremism and for an overhaul of the country's domestic intelligence agency in the wake of this week's deadly attack, blamed on a known Islamic radical who Austrian authorities had been warned had tried to buy ammunition in neighboring Slovakia. French President Emmanuel Macron said his country is fighting Islamist separatism, never Islam, responding to a Financial Times article that he claimed misquoted him and has since been removed from the newspaper's website. France is putting part of the country on high alert for bird flu after the cases of the disease were reported in Western Europe since last month. The Dutch Ministry of Agriculture ordered the culling of 200,000 chickens after highly pathogenic bird flu was found at a farm in the country. Germany's daily new coronavirus infections hit a record high today as data showed shoppers had stocked up on toilet paper, hand sanitizer and baking ingredients ahead of new lockdown measures that took effect this week. The Czech Republic reported a record daily tally of new coronavirus cases today following several days of slowdowns in infections. And 4 Italian regions are being put under red zone lockdown with severe limits imposed on the circumstances under which people can leave home. Poland reported a record over 27,000 new coronavirus infections today, and parts of Denmark will face new tougher lockdown measures after health authorities discovered a mutated coronavirus strain in minks and people in the country's northern regions. And in Oslo, the Prime Minister of Norway told Norwegians to avoid travelling domestically and instead stay at home as much as possible as part of a new round of recommendations and restrictions aimed at stopping the spread of the coronavirus. Mainland China has barred entry of some travellers from Britain and Belgium and set the strict testing requirements on visitors from the United States, France and Germany as it reimposed border restrictions in response to rising global coronavirus cases. In South Korea, about 1,000 people were alerted, and these were the ones who attended the memorial of the late Samsung Group patriarch last week to get tested for coronavirus after one person at that event was tested positive. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to the World News on Radio Caravan, and France has agreed to equip Indian Rafale fighters with air-to-surface Hammer all-weather smart weapons. It is table-toppers Mumbai Indians and the Delhi Capitals set to lock horns in the first qualifier match of the Indian Premier League 2020 at the Dubai International Cricket Stadium today. And Shreyas Iyer has just won the toss and opted to bowl against the Mumbai Indians. Indian captain Virat Kohli turned 32 years today, and he celebrated the momentous occasion with his wife Anushka Sharma and his Royal Challengers Bangalore teammates in style on a private yacht in the UAE. India's COVID-19 caseload went past 83 lakhs, while the number of recoveries surged to 76.56 lakhs, pushing the national recovery rate to over 92%. The Delhi High Court has expressed displeasure over the rising number of COVID-19 cases in the national capital and observed that the city could soon become the corona capital of the country. To dissuade people from bursting crackers, Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal has said the Delhi government will organize a Lakshmi Puja this Diwali and live stream it for people to perform the rituals at their homes. The Bombay High Court adjourned the plea of Republic TV editor-in-chief Arnab Goswami, who had challenged his illegal arrest. And he did spend his first night in jail at a school in Alibag, which is being used as a temporary prison. India asked Pakistan to reverse its arbitrary decision to hand over the management of the Darbar Sahib Gurudwara built at the site in Kartarpur where Guru Nanak Dev Ji spent the last years of his life to a body without any Sikh representatives. According to this notification, Pakistan's Religious Affairs Ministry handed over the management of the Darbar Sahib Gurudwara to a project management unit under the Evacuee Trust Property Board, a government department that oversees the shrines of the country's minorities. The Gurdwara was earlier under the management of the Pakistan Sikh Gurdwara Prabandhak Committee. Pakistan and Bosnia and Herzegovina signed a bilateral readmission agreement paving the way for repatriation of nearly 3,000 illegal Pakistani migrants. And Justice Syed Mansoor Ali Shah fears that unlawful procurement of information about 3 London properties through unlawful surveillance of Justice Qazi Faiz Isa and his family is deeply worrying and shakes the foundation of a democratic society based on the rule of law. And Federal Minister for Water Resources Faisal Wavda is himself in hot water as the Election Commission of Pakistan submitted his affidavit in the Islamabad High Court in which he has given an undertaking that he never acquired the citizenship of any foreign state. And as President Trump and his challenger Joe Biden prepare to climb the legal container in the United States, Pakistani politicians are converging on Gilgit-Baltistan to wage an electoral war in their own battleground state. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is all that I have in the news for you today on this